Welcome back to the Brojo Online Podcast. Got a special one for you today, some special guests. Stryker and Luba, who are currently based in Spain, run one of the most interesting businesses I've ever come across. Now, if you can imagine you're out there dating and you want to find an amazing partner, you're interested in a long-term relationship, maybe marriage. Imagine somebody could take care of the whole process up to the point where you're already dating someone you really like. Like all that difficult bit. From finding the right person, approaching them, getting to know them, finding out whether or not they're going to be the right person, the long, hard way. Imagine if all of that bit was taken care of by somebody else, so that then you can just continue on with somebody who's a great fit for you. Well, that is essentially their business model. And in particular, they match up Western guys with Slavic women who manage to fill the gaps for each other, which they'll explain in a moment. Those cultural gaps that leave Western men often struggling with Western women and Slavic women often struggling with Slavic men. It's one of the most interesting matchmaking services I've ever come across because they are so engaged and so involved with their clients that you are guided and supported through the whole process until you've found a really good match. I'm going to let them explain their business. I'm excited to have them as my new friends and to promote them doing something that I think is both very authentic and very much needed. So if you don't like the dating process, if you find it unpleasant, uncomfortable, it's a lot of guessing, a lot of hit and miss, the apps don't work, everything you invest in isn't paying off, have a listen to what they have to say.
So we work in a very unusual industry. So we are matchmakers, but we in a very unique niche. So we match primarily Western men with women from Eastern Europe. So we have a company called Heart Rocket that we've been, together, Luba and I, we've been together for about, in the company for about 6 years, something like that. But Luba's actually been a matchmaker for about 17 years. So basically, well, why don't you tell them about, you do the side of the matchmaking.
Yeah, so we, as Stryker mentioned, we match Western guys with Eastern European ladies. We do it on a very individual base. So I'm a female coach as well. So I have a very big audience of women. I have a group of 28,000 ladies that come into my coaching. They want to learn more about relationship. They want to learn more about Western guys and how to build a relationship with them. Those ladies are coming to us because they understand, and this is what I explain, the difference between Slavic culture and Western one, and like how the guys are more family oriented, how they respect the woman, how they cherish the woman. There is some gap that we're not going to cover today in Ukrainian culture, unfortunately, about that. And so that's why we deal with the guys who really come to us looking for that traditional trait, when the man can lead the relationship and when the woman is following. And so the combination between Western guys and Eastern European ladies is the best for that, because it's exactly what the Western guy wants and what the Eastern European ladies wants.
Yeah, so my name is Stryker, and I, like Dan, originally from New Zealand, but somehow found my way over to Eastern Europe several years ago. And this is Luba. She is an international matchmaker, and she's from Ukraine as well. So when it comes to our company, it's a difficult industry to explain to people, because quite often people will typically think about dating a Russian woman or an Eastern European woman, Ukrainian woman, something like that. They'll typically think of mail order bride. This is something that we have to basically fight against. And it's something that we've had to struggle with for a while. But I think it's becoming a little bit more mainstream now. There's a lot more awareness around international relationships in general, especially when it comes to a lot of pushback that men have against dating Western women. You would agree that most of our clients that come to us, they're tired of dating in a culture that's not really congruent with who they feel that they are. And so that was the base of Heart Rocket. I went through that as well myself. I had a terrible relationship in New Zealand that went on for about 8 years. And it was devastating emotionally and also financially as well. I decided that there has to be something better out there. So I actually went on a little mission myself, and I went to some other countries. And whenever I traveled, I always found that interactions or even short relationships with women from certain other countries was much more fulfilling. Like, I felt like a man when I was in these relationships. And so I actually started vlogging about this in 2017. and I became fascinated with relationships in general. And I started reading all of the books that probably Dan has recommended to you, or any other manosphere type channels. And I just became obsessed with it and learning the psychology of dating, what makes a good relationship, what you should look for in a relationship, or what you should watch out for. And I started making videos about it. And as that channel grew, more and more men were reaching out to me, asking me for advice, and I was still learning myself as well. And it was only when I was in Ukraine that Luba and I met on a random kind of sort of going through a doorway. And then we ended up talking, and it turned out that she was, doing matchmaking and all that sort of stuff as well. And she had a passion for it as well. And I said, why don't you come on my channel and discuss what it's like dating Ukrainian women and what their views are on it. And that was basically the start of the channel. So we didn't actually set out to make a company. In fact, I was actually kind of against being even in this industry. But it all sort of fell into place, really, didn't it?
Yeah, because like Stryker really wanted to explain to the guys what it is. And for me, I saw that like the first video that we've done also was about the difference between, like Stryker said, what is so different between Slavic guys and Western guys? And I explained that in a great depth. And then after that video, the guys, his subscribers just say, can you please stay on the channel? Can you keep here for the channel? So that is how the channel started. And we're doing that for actually more than 6 years. It's like 8 already, I think.
Yeah.
But the time flies. And we do the videos every week, and we usually like our videos are interesting because they're situational, and they're like about real situation that happening with our couples or our clients. Of course, we never disclose any names, but it's like, okay, we see that there's like a cultural difference that we need to explain, so that happened with one couple, and so we explain it to others as well, and it helps a lot.
Yeah, it was actually quite interesting because when Luba was on the channel, she was working for some other larger matchmaker type companies that didn't have the best reputation for being completely honest. And those companies are still around today. And a lot of guys actually try and Google how to meet a Ukrainian woman, and they get sucked into these this vortex of like a scam world. So those companies still exist. And so when Luba was on the channel, we actually ended our first product, I guess you could call it, or service, was actually just a course. And we just shared all our information in a course. And it was only until our very first ever matchmaking client, he contacted us looking for something else, some insurance or something. And then Luba said to him, I'll be able to find you a wife. And I was a bit sort of, I don't know, I wasn't that really that much into it. And he was using another matchmaker.
Yeah, the story was like really like not like, I don't know why it happened. It just like we didn't have a matchmaking company, but I always had a thing for that, because like when as I work for so much more longer, been at many weddings, because we attend weddings now together. But before I was doing it myself, and my first wedding was in Texas when I came, and everybody was wearing these big hats, and they was giving like clapping me that I introduced this couple, and it was like extremely nice, and I felt that I really want to do it. And so when this guy reached out to us, it was after like it was COVID times, and so you need to insurance to travel to Ukraine, and his matchmaker that he already like paid for, she said like, I can't be bothered with the insurance, you need to find your way. And so I was looking at him, and I had like very like feeling, it's hard to explain, it's an older gentleman, it wasn't like a love feeling, but I really wanted to help him to find a match. And I said, like, I really wish you luck with this company, but if you not find your match, can you please come to us? And that is exactly what happened. So it was in August, and in December we were matching him, and he found his wife. I attended their wedding in San Antonio in Texas, also Texas. And so that is how basically we
it was interesting for me because I never experienced that
and
before.
Stryker was like, what are you talking about? Like, how
I was like, what is this?
how can you say to the guy, like, like, can you please become our client? We didn't even have a service, but I just felt that, and we still like, we're great friends with this guy and like with his family. So this is our superpower, I guess, that we not just matching people, we're really implementing in their life, and we stay there forever.
Yeah, it was actually interesting because when we decided, okay, let's do it, let's build a website, guys are reaching out, they wanted us to help. And we thought, okay, well, let's give it a go. And we built everything, and then it was straight away, it was COVID.
As soon as we post, like I think we say that we're announcing it on 6th of March, and then 8th of March it was a lockdown.
Yeah, so there was the big lockdown. So then we had to think, well, can't really do this. We still did have some clients that came over during the lockdown, because in Ukraine the lockdown is different from in the West. Like basically it's still open, they just pretend it's closed. The rules are a little different over there. And so we still had some matches over there, and then we decided to sort of move it a bit online to Zoom. We kind of had to. It was like a necessary evil, even though we didn't want to do that. And so then we started doing that. Then the lockdowns finished, and then all of a sudden, the 2022, the war broke out, and we had to escape Ukraine. And then we came over. We drove to Spain, and we were we were like, this can't be done. And it was just like one day, like after a month here, I said, let's just do it. Let's like let's come up with a whole new thing and see if we can still do it. So that's what we did. We decided to keep doing it, and so here we are today, and things are growing. So it's been an interesting journey for us, to say the least.
Yeah, I love that you guys also represent what you're doing as well. So basically a Western guy with an Eastern girl.
Yeah,
And I think that's why you guys appealed to me as well, because that's what happened to me. Very similar experience to Stryker. Dating in New Zealand with that people from that culture wasn't hitting. Met a couple of girls who'd come over from Europe and Eastern Europe. And I was like, oh man, I get along so much better. This is so much. I think how you said, like, I feel like a man in these connections.
yeah,
Like, I feel
yeah,
like space is available to me. And so I kind of followed my nose, and now I live in Czech with a Czech girl.
yeah.
Oh, I want to dive a bit deeper into the kind of demand for what you guys are talking about, especially, why people come to you from both sides, the male and female sides. Like, what is it that they're not getting culturally that you guys are helping them find here on both sides?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak pretty strongly for the men, because I was in that same position, and there's different reasons why guys come to us, and it's not always that they're tired of Western women, right? It is a common reason that the guys tell us, but it can be something else as well. Like, it can be the guy has had limited interactions with women, so he's basically just inexperienced when it comes to women. We had one client. He's probably almost engaged, I would say. They're probably going to get engaged soon. And he came to us, and like, he was very vulnerable. And he said that, he almost didn't jump on the call with us when he first booked it, because he said, I'm just too nervous. He was nervous when he came to us. He had never been with a woman before, and he was 40 something ish. And he had a bad experience, like in college or something like that. And he was denied by a woman, and it just destroyed him. And then his whole life just like snowballed around.
He just put himself in a position that he would just work. He focused, like he worked with the kids, and he would just like put himself there. And it's not only one case. There's a lot of
Yeah, there's
cases.
many. This one stands out because what he did is he like, I commend him for like having the balls to do something like that. And we worked with him for months. We have a program called Level Up, and it's specifically for guys like that. So they go through the whole program. We figure out what exactly he's lacking, and then we write a program around that. He had we call them mock dates. So basically, we set him up with dates that are kind of they're like fake dates, and then we get to critique him on those dates. He gets to watch back the videos. Then he actually came here to the office, and we took him out on like some double dates as well to check his interactions as well. We changed his whole style. We took him to the barber. We changed all his clothes and everything. And then he had to go out and he had to date himself. So we have got courses as well for a bunch of other stuff as well, but we were coaching him the whole way through. And the first one, he had first interaction, which didn't go very well. And he felt a little bit withdrawn that he can't do this. We encouraged him more. Now he's with a woman. He's probably met her like 5 or 6 times. He's from Ireland. I think she's in Germany. And I assume they're going to get married soon. They're seeing each other like every other.
She's moving there in September. Yeah.
He's moving there in September. Yeah. So really wicked success story from a guy that like almost was too scared to call us, right?
Yeah.
So
we have a different variety of the guys, like the guys from like very successful and very like busy professionals, to the guys that are struggling, not because they're like they don't have exposure to the woman, they don't have like they work a lot, or they like they're very introverted, and that is also their like where would they meet, they don't know. And the main request that we have, if I summarize it, it's like guys who are coming to us and say, I would like to have a relationship like my grandparents had. This we hear like almost every second or third call. At the beginning, I was like, what do you mean by that? And it's like, when the man was a man and the lady was not like that feministic saying, that you can't do this or you can't eat that, or trying to compete with a man. And that is exactly what is going on in Ukraine, is that like the ladies, mostly we work with the ladies from Ukraine, but they are not in Ukraine anymore because of the situation. So they're either in United States, Australia, New Zealand, or in Europe. And so the ladies are coming to me because they say that the guys stop appreciating women. There's such a, of course, like there's a they're not a myth, but it's reality that the Slavic ladies are very beautiful, and so the guys just literally take it for granted, and so there's like one guy can have a couple of ladies, and they not appreciate anything. So, for example, like Ukrainian ladies adore cooking, and they adore like making the home cozy, and the guys just think that yeah, it's how it should be. When the Western guys, like when our Ukrainian lady moved there and she cooked borscht for him, he's like, sitting and looking like that. We doing our rendezvous every year. And last time we've done it in Austin. And before we were going to Ukrainian restaurants, we meet up with our clients, with our subscribers in the United States. And last time there was no Ukrainian restaurant. And I said, Stryker, like, I will cook. It's okay. Like for 25 guys, 15 liters of soup and like a lot of different stuff. And the guys just really loved it. Like we're going to Nashville this September, and the same guys, they want to come again for the meal, because it's like we really creating like a family with our community. And so the ladies are coming because they want to be appreciated. They want to be with a man who is responsible for his words. And I believe that from different cultures that we work, like Western guys are really, if they say something, most of the time, like 90% of the time, they follow their words, and that is very, very like valuable for Ukrainian lady. And yeah, that's why the ladies are coming to us. And also it's pretty difficult nowadays to meet. Like, where do you meet? At the bar, people don't really want to meet at the bar, like at the nightclub,
Yeah.
library. So they don't want to swipe the Tinder apps because like they just feel very unsafe there. So the girls that coming to us, it's usually the girls that come friend of a friend, or like the lady that we already introduced, it's neighbors. So it's literally, we call it BBC in Russian. It's like Babi сказала. It's like a word of mouth, right? And so
Yeah, it's quite interesting there because, there is a lot of fatigue when it comes to the dating apps. People are just tired of it. Dating apps sort of had their day maybe 10 years ago, and now it just, I think people are just a little bit tired of it. About half of our clients that come to us are divorced. I don't know, maybe about like 50%, 40 to 60%, somewhere in there, are divorced. And it seems to be that when a guy gets divorced, he's either out completely. He's like, I'm never doing that again. That's it. That just destroyed me. But some guys, they liked being married. They liked actually being with a woman and having this family or this companionship or this friendship, this intimacy with a woman, and they want to get back into that. But if the guy has been married for like 15 years or 20 years, and then he comes back into the dating market, it's like a whole different world. He doesn't even know where to start. He thinks he's supposed to use dating apps, but that doesn't work for him. He sort of missed that boat, perhaps. Bars and clubs, like people, I mean, like if you're 50 years old, going hanging out at a bar, scoping out chicks is probably not the best thing to be doing. But also, even society itself, it's confusing what men are allowed to do and not do. I'd say 20, 30 years ago, a lot of relationships started from the workplace, or from some local community. But now you have to be careful. There was this whole Me Too movement, and every man just all of a sudden just became on guard, thinking like, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to lose my job. So now, because that's kind of instilled in a lot of men, they really don't know what to do. And so the hardest part about, this whole process is the actual searching. It's looking for a woman and going to the places where the woman that you want to meet are, and then hoping that they're single, and then hoping that they like you, and then hoping that you're compatible for an actual relationship. So when they come to us, I guess to any matchmaker, but so when they come to us, that part is done. So they jump straight over that, and the premise is set for the interaction. So when we introduce the man to a woman, the premise is set. He's not thinking, does she like me? Because she's already expressed interest through the profile creations that we do. She's already said, I like this guy, I like where he lives, I like his age, I like how he looks, whatever. So now it's just up to the guy in order to, have a good interaction with the woman that she thinks is interesting in order to, kickstart the actual dating process. There's none of the, wondering, like ghosting, should I text her now? What's the next stage? Should I go on a second date? We don't have to do any of that stuff. So for some guys, they're just busy. They just can't be bothered with it. Like, it's just too much work these days to do all of that stuff. And it can be expensive going on dates and wasting your time. So they basically just say, you just do that part. I said to someone the other day, we actually went to a conference, and it was all IT people that were there. And I was trying to think, how can I make what we do sound kind of IT-ish? So I changed, from matchmaking to we outsource the dating for you, which is pretty much what we do. So
but the main superpower, I believe, is that we do a lot of support. So it's not that just we introduce the guy and then goodbye, just do whatever. Like after they introduced, like I'm always on the first call with the first match, the first call, the first date is online at the moment. And so this give a lot of opportunity for the guy, because he doesn't need to be that stressed, oh my God, what should I do? Should I help her? Because some guys, like, it's a big difference. Like, I have to tell our guys that it's okay to give a compliment to Ukrainian lady. It's okay to open the door for her. Because in US, like when I was there, I literally saw it on my own eyes when the woman is saying like, what you doing? Like, you think I can't open the door myself? That is like shocking, because like Slavic lady will always like, oh, thank you, nice, like she would be like very feminine about that. And this is exactly what we're looking for. So we took off the stress, the first date, because you can get to know the person online. And I'm always on the background. So I always can give the guy feedback after the date. You've done great. Or, you were speaking about your ex too much. Or maybe like, please don't talk about the political situation or war situation. Or like some of the guys, sometimes they get a little bit too excited and they start telling, how awesome is the country where they live. And I said, like, it's not a good marketing, if you say bad stuff about something like that. And like different things, mostly it's about ex, to be honest. It's like about past relationship. The guy, like the lady say, tell me like, when did you get divorced? And that's it. It's like it's opening the Pandora box. But we support, and like, so it will be, he will do this mistake only once and he will know why he've done it wrong. And the same for the woman, like I will give her feedback. Yesterday we had a very big cultural difference thing, and we explained that to the ladies as well. And after they start talking, we're always there. So if in a week time or in 2 weeks time, the guy feel that she's not responding to him that much, or she's not I don't know, she's like something changed. It's not that he needs to be needy and say, oh, what have I done wrong? Like I will reach out to her, and somehow with my magic, like I will find out what is going on. I will help him to embrace his masculinity, and everything will be good. So our matchmaking is not just like set up a date and that's it. No, we help couples and until they want us to help them.
Yeah. Yeah, we always say to the guys before they sign up, like, this is going to be a journey, and how you want to come out the other end is entirely up to them. So for us, the best client is someone that comes to us and says, I don't know anything. I want to improve these areas of my life and dating and relationships. And they're open to it. They're like a sponge. Anything we tell them, if they make a mistake or something like that, they're open to it. And they say, okay, tell me more about what I need to do. A bad client, will say, is someone that gets offended by what we say. If we say, like Luba said, stop talking about your ex-wife to this woman, she doesn't appreciate that. He would get offended by that, and he would try and justify why he was saying it. So that can be difficult. But you can use this whole process as a journey to become the man that you want to be when it comes to dating, because you'll have women that are interested in you that you may not be interested in them. And that's a pretty good ego boost for a guy. If he thinks, okay, for the first time in my life, there are 7 women that have shown interest in me, that want to meet me, that want to date me, and I'm not interested in them. I'm looking for something a little bit better. For most men in these days, this, if you're 40, 50 years old, that's not really happening. So it can boost your ego as well. It can make you feel like, that you're wanted in the dating market. So if they're open to it, like the best thing for us, like when the guy comes out the other end, and it's like, dude, you're like a whole other person from when we met you a year ago or 6 months ago. So for me, this is like the part of the business that I'm super passionate about. It's really cool.
Look, it's so good. Like, this is all the bits that everyone hates about dating that, we didn't have to go through, I guess, hundreds of years ago. It's this new modern kind of way of meeting people that have just screwed everything up. And, in my own work, I so often see, even just in personal life, I see 2 people, I'm like, you would be good together, but the process of getting together is going to fuck that up. Like, all that bit at the start makes people mismatch. It makes them ruin things with somebody. If they didn't like act like that, they would be fine once they got to know each other's. I always think, when I was a kid, there was 3.5 billion people on the planet, and now there's like almost 8 billion. Like, we're not that fussy. We do like each other. It shouldn't be this hard. Like, we're clearly meant to like get together, and yet the modern dating process makes that pretty much as hard as possible. And you guys have kind of created a bridge over that valley to get straight to the good stuff. Like, here you are, well matched. All you got to do is find out if, you guys look good on paper. Let's find out if it's real in real life. And I love the way that you guys actually keep supporting them through that, because if if they're left on their own for that process, they're going to sabotage it, even though there could be a good, right? They're just the early days stuff. They're not going to get that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so that's why I was so fascinated as well. And like, that with the combination with the cultural thing, which is with all the noise in the world, there are some of us who just want that masculine feminine dynamic, and we're not ashamed of that. We love it. We prefer it. I remember when I
Mm.
first started dating my wife, I was just blown away with how much stuff she did for me. I was just like, this is too much. Like, it was embarrassing, you know? I was like being taken care of. And
Yeah.
for her, that was normal. And she lives in a country where the guys don't appreciate that at all. They take that for granted. They they're almost abusive and neglectful with how much they take it for granted. And then she was stoked with just how stoked I was with it, you know, just how appreciative, like you guys say. Like, I was like, no, please stop. Come on, you're cooking for me again. This is ridiculous. And it just felt really good. And there was all that, I had all that conditioning as well. I'm like, oh, I'm not allowed to do the traditional thing and so on. But
Yeah.
if we both love it this way, then what's the problem exactly? Like, we got these roles and we love our roles. Nobody's being oppressed here. Like, we want this. And I think there's a lot of other people out there who want that. Um, what's the process typically like for one of the people that go through you? Sort of like, what's most likely to happen? How long is it going to take? What can they expect?
So basically, when the guys sign up, first and the most important for him, we have a course called Ascent. That is all he needs to know. So if the guy, for example, watching this video, he never even thought about Slavic woman. He doesn't even know what it is and why, you know. So for him, it would not be that difficult. So we create a comprehensive course that cover most important parts. First is decoding Slavic mind. So to understand who is this animal, you know, who is this person, and why everybody like why it's so why people craving that. And the second one is embracing masculinity. So we help guys a little bit to understand how to deal with Ukrainian women, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, you know, what he shouldn't, like, for example, what is culturally not kind of inappropriate. I will give an example. It's like little things can be, but in Ukraine, we don't do even number of flowers. So dozen of roses would not work. You only go to the cemetery with that. So that's why, and some guys just literally doesn't know that. And that there's little things. And, but of course they go into depth. And the last part is like navigating relationship, because we believe that, yes, of course, you can meet the person, you can have that click, and what you say, they can be perfect for each other, but the dating part can really like rock it a little bit or like shake it. And so that's why we're there for them for the basic information. So after they've done the course, there's an instruction about the first video date, like everything that they need. We support them when they decided to meet in person. Well, after that, the guy has access to our Rocket Match. It's our database of ladies. At the moment, there's like more than 2,500 registered ladies, verified. We vet them, we check their passports. You know, we do a lot of different things to make sure we check them the face recognition. So to make sure that the girls like legit and they really serious and interested, they're not married and etc. And then after that, the guy is creating a list of ladies that they like. So for example, the guy looking for the lady, let's say 30 to 35, no kids, with English. Most of our ladies, they do speak English and other languages as well. He can choose by location, and then he create a list. For example, he can create list of like 20 or 30 ladies. Then I will go to look at this list and I will say, you know, like talking to this guy, knowing him a little bit better by this stage, I will say, this lady, I would not recommend you. This lady, like, I think that she's like a little bit too high tempered for you. Maybe this one is too extroverted, like something like that. So I will remove maybe about 5, 6, 7 ladies from that list. And then I will start presenting this guy. We help him to create a profile. We recommend him and advise him on the photos that he needs to take. And then I will present his profile individually to each of the ladies. If the lady has extra questions or if the guy has an extra question to the lady, I always going to answer that, because we have a very close connection with the ladies. We have a very close connection with the guys. So you're right. Like, we basically that bridge that help people to, you know, all the awkwardness, all the questions like, oh, Luba, can you find out why she's divorced, for example? You know, so to ask this on the first date would, again, can open something. But if I ask, I say, yeah, you know, the guy was an alcoholic, for example, and so she left, she ran away, whatever, you know. And so then we like choose like 5 girls or 3 girls, whatever the guy prefer, and we having a first date. So we believe in multiple dates, and that is something that nobody else in this industry is doing, and we have a perfect explanation why. So we believe that the guy needs to talk to multiple ladies when he start his introductions. Why is that? Is because we don't want guy to settle, especially if the guy doesn't have a big experience. We don't recommend, and we're not saying that the guy needs to sleep with multiple ladies, but we want him to be able to interact with multiple ladies, at least online, to see the difference. Because yes, of course, online, Olga will not cook for him, but he will see that Olga is asking about his children, or Olga is like taking care, like how is he, how was his day. And like, for example, like Elena, she's like maybe hotter, she's like very beautiful, but she's a little bit more self-centered, and she's not asking that much questions. And another one, she's just like making him laugh all the time, and he feel that the connection is there. So we want the guy to be able to compare, because we had a call one time with a guy, and he was like super nice, super sweet. He was like, and he said, like, I met a girl, young guy, and like she was chubby, he said, and she has a lot of pimples. I remember, but she gave me a hug, so it becomes so rare these days that the people are warm to each other, that he said, and I start feeling that I'm falling in love with her. I said, like, listen, like, of course, she might be a lovely person, but, like, you need to understand that you need to communicate with more people in order to understand that, what exactly you're looking for, and not fall in love with the first person who just hugged you on the street or at the bar. And so he followed that. Remember that?
Yeah.
So, and then he followed, and he's very successful in a relationship now. And yes, it started that he was almost like, yeah, she's very nice, and this one is nice. And I said, no, listen to yourself, like probably having the syndrome of, like just being agreeable to everything, but inside he was unsure. And so like now he's in a relationship, but it took some time. So the guy's talking to multiple ladies, and then after talking to a couple of them, he decided to go and visit them. So we have ladies in the United States. Most of our clients are from United States, and we have ladies in Europe and in the United States. And it depends. If the guy wants to travel to Europe, he can visit Europe. If it is in US, it's in US. So everybody is a little bit individual. So there is no really time frame. We do recommend to talk to the lady for a month or two, and then come and visit her if she's in Europe and you have to take a long trip. But if she's in the United States, then usually guys meet like other weekend or in 3 weeks, something like that. And they just if they starting the relationship if they feel like that. And our contract goes for 2 years, and the guys can like he can start dating, and if it doesn't work for some reason, he can start it again. Like we there for him, and we're not very strict with that even. So if the guy, like, we don't really have that cases. It's not that we will find him a match within 2 years. No, we find match within like 1 month maximum. But it depends. We have a couple. The guy came to us for a completely different reason. He wanted some coaching in dating, and then he met a lady. He really liked her, but there was a lot of little things that he acted with her like she's a Western woman, but she's a Slavic. Then we spoke with him, and the good thing about him that he didn't say, oh, like some guys would say, oh, I'm going back to my shell, I will focus on work, I don't want to date anything. He said, I want to listen everything that I've done wrong. He listened to that, he fixed it. Now he's happily married, and they live in Puerto Rico. So that is how the process like works in a very short explanation.
No, that's really intense. That's so much more than I originally thought when I thought of the term matchmaking. I thought it was like, okay, you got your first date, good luck out into the wilderness kind of.
That's traditionally how it is. We go to, there's matchmaking conferences around the world, and some of these Western matchmakers, they charge like $300,000 for a client. Like we don't even understand that kind of money that's involved. And we tell them what we do, like our process, and how we support our clients literally forever. So we've never ever stopped supporting a client, even after 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. We had a client recently. He was one of our first clients. He was married. For some reason, there was some issue with her teenage son as he's growing up, and he wanted someone to talk to. So he came back to us and he talked to us. It was like 4 years ago. He got, we stepped them up.
The Western, like I started and didn't say like why we do multiple dates, and Western doesn't. They literally, so when we go to these conferences, the matchmakers, they do blind dates usually, and they do like one at a time, and they try to sell it that this is your idea, this is better for you, but this is not, because like the literally they don't do it because they don't have enough ladies, or they don't have enough matches for them. So that's why they would say we do the blind date, because we know better, you don't know anything. And so like I work with the guys for 16 years, and I know that guys are very visual. And even if the guys say, I just want her to be a sweetheart, I just want her to be, nice and caring, like it's all good if she is blonde with the blue eyes.
We do it backwards. So we have a platform with all of the female profiles on it. So the guy goes in there and he chooses and he makes lists basically. And then we go and check those lists and make sure that they're appropriate. There's no 30-year age gap or something that we can't achieve. But Luba's right. Yeah, the way the other matchmakers do it, when we describe our process and how much time and effort that we put into everything, like we work literally till midnight every night with emergencies and some disasters happen. She said this, he said that, whatever it is. When we talk about this, they think we're crazy. They think we're out of our minds to put in this much effort into our clients. They just don't get it, you know? And so I kind of like that because it sort of says, we're obviously working a lot harder than what they are. But even when we were at one, you were at one last year, I think, and one of our clients messaged Luba and said, they just got engaged. And so they sent a photo of the hand with the ring. And Luba showed it to the table at the conference. And these women were just shocked that we had an engagement. It's like they don't even see results from their process. So I don't know, even that was kind of an eye opener for me, that how little results that some of them get for the money that they charge is just,
Yeah.
it's
Like
phenomenal.
some of our clients, they come to us after they've been using a Western matchmaker, and it's a little bit like sad because when they describe what type of matches they got, like after they spoke with the matchmaker, after they explain what they want of the, and it's not unreasonable, we don't work with unreasonable guys. So like if we talk to him and he's our client, he is reasonable. So like, and they just like completely different, like opposite almost from what he's looking for. But the reason for that is because in the West, they charge for male and female clients, and so they need to close the match for both of them. They have like financial responsibilities in front of them. When we don't do it, like we don't charge for the girls, we do other, like some matchmakers say, like if they don't charge for the girls, then the girls are not serious.
You mean charge the
Like
girls?
charge the girls.
Charge for the
No,
girls.
charge. Yeah, sorry. So like, but I have another instruments to see, like if the girl is serious, and if the girl is like doesn't have money to pay, it doesn't make her like bad person or not serious. Like it maybe make her better for some guys, that she's like more like kind of vulnerable, and she would like be even more appreciative. But yeah, money, like if the matchmaker charging money for the girls, or if how to say
Charging the girls money.
charging the girls money, then it just, the only thing it means is just that they just want to make money on the girls as well. That's all. And yeah, so that is in short.
I think that's why, like, I've got a pretty good instinct for this. I've been doing this job for, I don't know, 13 years. I think my anniversary this week, actually. And I get approached by not people like you exactly, but other people doing stuff, wanting to collaborate. And I've got like a radar now where I just look at an email and just like, nah. But you guys, like, I don't know, it's your intent. Like, I know you got a business and you got to put money in the bank account or whatever, but I mean, if you're staying up to midnight, you're walking guys through it, you never let go of them until it really has worked out for them. That's so incredibly rare, and it's like your primary motive is clearly about the guys. Like you actually want them to succeed. You don't just want to transfer their money into your pocket kind of thing. Like you actually give a shit. And I think probably it's because of your personal experiences as well. Like you
Yeah.
to go through it, and I think that's what we have in common. Like I do what I do because I don't want guys to go through what I went through, or I
Yeah.
want them to accelerate how long it took me to do it. Being the guy I wish I had, sort of thing. And you guys are kind of doing that as well.
When we started the company, we agreed that we both very passionate about that, and it's always like, of course, like I go through a lot of emotional roller coasters every single day, because some couples are very successful, some guys are like doing something wrong, or the girl's doing something wrong, and I'm very like, as a girl, I'm always like stressed. But we said that we're gonna do that until the moment that we're passionate about that. The moment that one of us decided that can't be bothered, like unfortunately, like I saw the company where I used to work, they just like they can't be bothered, so we will stop.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
They're
To Nashville to make another 15 liters of borscht.
Yeah, there are other companies that have been around way before us, like sort of like matchmaker type, introduction type companies, and run by Western guys. And I'd used one of them before, or a couple of them before. And what I saw, and it was interesting to see that stuff, because what I saw is that they were accepting money from anyone, like guys that were absolutely unreasonable. Age isn't really a factor for us as long as they're reasonable. Like the guy can be 70 years old, and if he wants to meet a 60-year-old woman, I mean, it's for us, it's not an issue. But they were accepting guys that were like 70, wanting to meet 21-year-old woman, and it completely eroded any integrity that company could ever have. And then it got to the point where they had so many unhappy clients because they thought that what they were asking for was reasonable, because nobody told them that it was unreasonable, that they all started hating on them with the bad reviews. And then the companies just kind of imploded. They lost any passion that they had, and it was all just about the money. And now many of them have gone because it didn't work out. And so we do have to turn down guys who want to work with us. if we feel as though it's just not the right fit for them, or if it's going to be hard, we explain the difficulties that they're going to have. Like maybe the guy lives in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, it's going to be very difficult to convince a woman that she needs to live out in the middle of nowhere as well. Doesn't mean that we won't do it, but just means that we make them very aware that this is going to be much more difficult than other guys. So some guys still want to do it, but a lot of guys, so we kind of talk them out of it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, let's say it takes 2 years of working with you to really figure it out. I think of how many guys have spent 20 years banging their head against the wall and up at nothing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the guys are just like, I'll take whoever likes me first,
Yeah.
marry that, and then
Yeah.
And then disappointed, yeah.
This is the whole reason for the multiple dates. We used to call it spinning plates, which came from the red pill term of spinning plates. We don't call it that anymore. Now we call it the funnel, but we don't want the guy to settle, and we don't want him to choose the last person that he interacted with, because that may not be the right one. Because if he's dating one woman and then he stops, or not, it's not really even dating, it's just interacting, getting to know him. And then he stops and goes to the next one. And then he feels there's something better. He goes to like the fifth one. Then he thinks, the first one was actually the best, but we can't go back. We can't say, well, let's call her up again and tell her that, out of 6 women, you're the best one. It doesn't work like this. And so we don't want the guy to settle. That's why we have multiple. So they shuffle around. So he's talking to 2 women. One of them is much better than the other. So he brings in another one, maybe another one, and they'll just naturally shuffle like a funnel. And out the bottom will be like 2, and he'll get to a position where he's like, I need to meet this Maria. There's just something I have to go and meet her in person and see if there's this physical attraction and chemistry in there. So that's basically how that formula goes. But the last thing we want them to do also is to say, she's okay. Like if a guy says this to us, it's like, okay, let's stop. Let's keep going. We'll never, ever push a guy to say and convince him that she's okay. Like if he feels it's not right, we'll say, let's close it off. In fact, in many cases, we've said to the guy, like, we never say you should break up with her. We simply just highlight some of the things that are going on and that maybe there's a better option out there, because he may not see it because he doesn't have any experience. But from our point of view, because we're not emotionally invested, we have like no emotion, in either of these 2 people from that point of view, in a romantic point of view. So we can say, this woman is not treating you the way that you should, maybe, or he may be not as interested. So he's not doing more. He's doing the bare minimum for her. And so we say, look, like, it's not going to work. Let's find someone else if you're not interested. So yeah, last thing we want is someone to settle.
No, I like it. I like the honesty, the patience to do it properly, because that's actually the quickest way to the real results, and a lot of people just don't understand that trade-off, but I'm glad you guys.
Yeah, it's not, what we do is not an easy way to meet chicks. It's not an easy way to meet chicks. There is some challenges along the way.
Well, what I love as well is, and somebody doesn't have to necessarily believe in traditional marriage, so to speak, but you're going for like an actual long-term one-to-one relationship as the primary goal. And I like that there's no shame in that. I think culture has really eroded that a lot. And I'm not saying that's the best for everyone must do it. But there are a lot of guys who are like, they'd be scared to tell their friends that they want to marry someone because they'd just get shit about it, be like, you should be sleeping around kind of thing. And I remember I went through that. I'm just kind of like, I just want one, dude. Like, I don't want many. But everybody around me is like, come on. And so to actually like help someone who really does want that and is willing to be patient and open to feedback. So they still have all the development that you need to go through. That's what, like, call it the dating process. There's a lot of self-development that happens in that process that's really necessary. So they're not skipping that, but they're skipping all the wasted time bits, right? So they're skipping all the bits where you date someone for 6 weeks for no fucking reason and then come back to like, oh my God, that was devastating. Or you spend 3 years meeting people who are a bad fit because you're looking in the wrong place and so on. They get to skip all that wasted time while still working on themselves. I absolutely love it. I really do. Like if I was single, I'd work with you guys for real.
It's also the, like, when you have a relationship or an interaction and maybe she ghosts you, or, it just turns a bit sour. There's no way to figure out really what happened if you're doing it by yourself. And that's why the process can be time consuming and painful, and it can kind of mess with your mental health and stuff like that, because there's nothing to interpret what actually happened. If you're dating a woman and all of a sudden, like, she stops calling you, well, you're thinking, did I do something? Did she just lose interest? Is she mentally unstable? But when you go through this process here, everything is in place. So if something like that happens, well, then Luba's straight on the phone, like, what's going on? Why are you not calling him back? We figure it out. And maybe she says something, I don't know, he forgot my birthday, something like that, something that he would never know about. So we can give him that feedback straight away, so the feedback is instant. It's like when it comes to, developing yourself, you're right. There's no trying to figure it out. You got to make the same mistake 6 times before finally you go, oh yeah, maybe I was doing this wrong. So yeah.
My early dating experiences is so often like I thought it was going well and then ghosted, and I had to spend the rest of my life not knowing why, like, and
Yeah.
learn nothing from it. Do I need to care about that? Was that actually feedback for me? Should I ignore it? I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's amazing having that kind of like CCTV like on top of it, just going, "Oh, here's what actually happened," and you can go, "Okay,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
exactly.
cool." Look, yeah, I'm really enthusiastic about what you guys do. Genuinely, like, it's just such a legit, supportive business, and it just absolutely hits the mark with kind of the support that's missing. If someone didn't grow up in the right place or with the right support around the idea of romance and dating, and they're just left in the wilderness by themselves, guessing, the amount of years that go by just lost. To have that bridge over that is just fantastic. If somebody does want to work with you, how do they get in touch and get started?
They can visit heartrocket.com, which is our website. They can probably that's a good place to start, but probably go to our YouTube channel and start watching a bunch of videos. There's like 500 or 600 videos on there about the cultural differences, about dating, advice, psychology, stuff like that. That's going to be useful because it's not for everyone. Sometimes someone may see one video, call us, and on the call they don't know anything at all, and we say to them, like, you're nowhere near ready to even think about this. Go back and watch a bunch of videos for a few months and see if it's for you, because it's not for everyone. It really isn't. There are some men that are incapable of actually doing this process. They don't want to be a leader, or it's not built inside them, or whatever it is. So that would be the best place to start, or they could reach out to you as well, of course, and I'm sure you'll pass on the details. And then from there we can book a strategy call and see if it's something that they want to do.
And the most important is to start. A lot of guys saying, like, when we ask them, how long are you watching us for? They say, oh, I'm watching you for 5 years. The same as you said, guys doing it for 20 years. And I said, but you was like, for example, 37, now you're 42, or like you're 45 and now you're 50. So what's the point to wait? Like, we don't know what's going to happen with the planet tomorrow. So it's time to act. And, I truly believe that, yes, it's not easy. Like I would be honest, relationship, all these like moments that guys and ladies are going through. But at the end, it's pretty rewarding. And so it's worth it. And I truly believe in love. I believe in relationship. And that's what we do with a big passion.
Yeah, I see. When I came across your channel, I just straight away resonated with it myself. One of the first books I ever read when I went on my journey of self-discovery was Robert Glover's book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and I recommend it to all of our clients. And it's like in our school community, that's the first. It's pinned at the top for them to read this book, and I recognize in a lot of our clients the issues that you speak about on your channel. So I just looked at your audience and what you're teaching. Those guys who are developing themselves to get rid of this nice guy, syndrome, are perfect for going into something like this. I just saw exactly as soon as I saw your videos, I just thought this guy's audience is perfect. He's teaching them exactly what our clients need, and we're always trying to like a hose, like trying to get the kinks out along the way. And this is one of the kinks that we want to get out with our clients and get that hose and get the water flowing through it. So, yeah, definitely would be useful.
Well, that's what I think, that can reassure someone if they do start the process with you. If they're not right for it, you are going to stop them. So they don't need to worry that they're going to get themselves into something that's going to be a bad fit and a waste of money. And I think that's what a lot of them would fear, that they've invested. Like, so many of my guys have various dating investments of whatever kind, coaching courses, apps. The people running it would just let anyone in, and they
Yeah.
don't care if you're going to get results or not, as long as the money transfer goes through. They're like, good luck to you. It's so rare to have somebody actually say no to you if you're not going to get the results.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge safety concern for a lot of guys, especially when they've been burned before. So
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you guys have that standard so that, you know, that everyone has to get a result for this to
Yeah,
be.
maybe part of that is being selfish too, because we want to enjoy our job, and if we take someone on who's, very disagreeable, unreasonable, doesn't listen, we're going to hate doing our job and we're not going to want to do it anymore. So yeah, it's important that the people that we work with, it's someone I could sit down with and have a beer and not end up in a fight, basically. That's my criteria.
It took me a long time to get there as well. Once I did, I
Yeah.
was, I have to like who I work with, otherwise it's just insane.
Yeah.
Um, any final thoughts or anything you guys want to share before we wrap it up?
Hmm.
Not really, it's like I think that the main one is like just the guys need to be proactive and they need to know that if they choosing, for example, us, they are fully protected, I would say. They have support because some guys say, what if I end up with a scammer? What if I end up with a gold digger? But like, of course, like it can hypothetically happen, like if you're doing it by yourself, but if you have a professionals, it's almost like guaranteed that it would not happen because like we every step of a time with you. And it's very difficult to explain about our support, like just when I talk about that, because like everybody would advertise themselves and say we support, but we support that much that sometimes like I feel that I'm annoying for these guys, because I reach out, everything is okay, and they all call me mama, and I love it and I hate it at the same time because most of the clients are older than me, but I'm their mama, and they're like, everything is okay? How it is going with her? Do you remember it's your birthday? Did you get her? Did you send her flowers? Did you do this? And so it's not that I'm doing it in bossy way, absolutely not. I'm doing it in a caring way, but it's like they are safe with us because we always ask if there's any little issue that you're unsure about, or even sometimes, in Ukraine, like in the Slavic culture, we have a different even emoji style. So we don't have this XXX like kisses, right? And so the girls are asking me, what does it mean, this XXX? I said it's kiss. And the same with the like Ukrainian girls, we do like this. I will show you quickly. At the end of the sentences, we do like, like smiles, like breaks. And so
Brackets.
brackets, and the guy's like, what is that? I said, it's smile, so like even little thing like that, that you don't want to sound like, stupid in front of the girl, ask me. And we're doing all of that. We always create with each of the client. It sounds maybe crazy, but like, I don't know how many hundreds of groups I have on Telegram. So with each client, we have an individual chat, like me, a group chat, like with me, you and with me, client and Stryker. And then also each client can reach out to Stryker individually, like if he has some man-to-man question, something that he doesn't want to really share with me, or like they talk to me directly if there's something that, they feel, kind of intimidated. So we have it like we have 3 chats with each client for sure. And that is like, I think that the guys can absolutely relax and they can understand it's like the same as they go to the dentist, to fix their teeth. They trust them. They can trust us to outsource their dating life.
Fantastic. And yeah, I wouldn't support or recommend you guys if I didn't believe in it. So appreciate you guys taking the time to share everything with us and share your stories. I'll make sure that your contact information is really easy to find. And I sincerely encourage anybody who thinks they might be right for this to just at least start checking it out. Have a look at your guys' videos and see where that takes them. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
you for having us.
No worries.